Okay, we have been in, the board has been in closed session since about 4:30, and we had two CFD meetings just before that. And I think we do not have any reporting out of closed session. Is that correct? Okay. Let's see. Is Elizabeth Jensen here? Would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, will the following students, teachers, and administrators come forward? Izzy Salgado and Maria Salgado. They are seniors at Tustin High School. Are you here? All right. Izzy and Maria have received the 2015 Every Student Succeeding Award from the Association of California School Administrators, Region 17, which is Orange County. Izzy and Maria won the award for their hard work to achieve academic success, for their personal triumph over adversity, and for being an inspiration to those around them. They were recognized at the AXA Region 17 Every Student Succeeding Breakfast Celebration in March at the Bowers Museum in Santa Ana. Congratulations. It's an incredible honor. And we have those very, very important people. Janice Leach, a second, third grade teacher at Arroyo Elementary School. Please come forward. And Johnny Gonzalez, please come forward. He's a mathematics and computer science teacher. He is a mathematics and computer science teacher at Beckman High School. These are our 2015 Teachers of the Year. They will represent Tustin Unified at the Orange County Teacher of the Year program. The Orange County Department of Ed will interview selected candidates and announce winners in May, and the county finalists go on to California and possibly national competition. Our annual program recognizes outstanding teachers who have displayed extraordinary teaching, creativity, and excellence at their school and community. These teachers were chosen from a field of 28 candidates. Mrs. Leach was named Elementary K-5 Teacher of the Year, and Mr. Gonzalez was selected as Secondary Teacher of the Year. Mrs. Leach has taught in public education for 19 years. She looks too young. The past 15 at Arroyo School. The school has twice been named a California Distinguished School, and it's also been named a National Blue Ribbon School during her time there. Mrs. Leach was the first class of TUSD Coates Art of Teaching Fellows from 2008 to 2010, enhanced her craft as a teacher, and transformed her learning environment into a model classroom, demonstrating reading and writing workshops, cognitively guided instruction, and integrated technology. She has received numerous grants and donations from Santa Ana Tustin Rotary, Good Club Idea Awards Program, Coatson, and Tustin Public School Foundation grants and as well. Outside of the classroom, Mrs. Leach has supported the Max Love Project, a nonprofit organization that raises awareness about childhood cancers, and volunteered at its Lumathon fundraising events. She supports other nonprofit groups and programs such as Alex's Lemonade Stand, Doctors Without Borders, World Wildlife Foundation, and Adopt a Family Project. She also volunteers at the TPSF Dinosaur Dash and participates in the Orange County Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. Mr. Gonzalez has been a teacher in Tustin Unified for 13 years. He taught at C.E. Utt Middle School for several years and came to Beckman High in 2006. Beckman has been named a California Distinguished School twice since he joined the school. Mr. Gonzalez teaches calculus, algebra, and computer science. He is a master teacher. He advises the engineering, math, and programming clubs and serves as an assistant coach for the math team, advisor of the rescue robotics team through UC Irvine, and he's co-advisor of the Beckman Science Research Program. In addition to his in-class instruction, 3 years ago, Mr. Gonzalez created the YouTube channel Viva la Math. Videos of him reviewing math problems and concepts to provide easy access to homework help wherever and whenever students need the support. After the first year, he found his students were comprehending the material at a higher level, and the pass rate for both the AP Calculus and AP Computer Science class have shown significant gains. Mr. Gonzalez stays busy with many other activities at the school, such as being assistant coach of the boys' varsity wrestling team and the junior varsity football team, and club advisor for badminton, table tennis, and woodworking. He also tutors high school students and teaches math and calculus classes at Santa Ana College. The 2 winners and all the district's nominees will be honored at the 21st Annual Teachers of the Year Dinner at 5 p.m. on Friday, May 15th at the Irvine Marriott Hotel. The event is co-sponsored by the Tustin Public Schools Foundation and the Tustin Unified School District. Congratulations. Tracy Vanderhayden, Principal, Pioneer Middle School. Troy Fresh, Assistant Principal, Pioneer Middle School. And Ken Thompson, Assistant Principal, Jean Thorman Elementary School. They have been named 2015 County Administrators of the Year by the Association of California School Administrators, Region 17. ACSA annually recognizes outstanding administrators for their leadership skills, professionalism, creativity, innovation, and commitment to a quality education. Mrs. Vanderhayden was named Middle Grades Principal of the Year. She has been recognized as an outstanding principal, educator, and leader, and for her commitment to fully prepare all students for the future. She has been involved in public education for 31 years. Another person who doesn't look like it. She has served as principal of Pioneer School for the past 5 years. Prior to that, she was principal of Hughes Middle School for 8 years. Under her leadership, Hughes was named a California Distinguished School and a National Avid Demonstration School. Pioneer is the first middle school in TUSD to be recognized both as a national and California Schools to Watch, taking center stage school. In addition, Pioneer was also named a California Distinguished School in 2013, and AVID, which is Advancement via Individual Determination, highly certified school from 2011 to 2015, and a National Model Professional Learning Community Middle School in 2013. Mrs. Vanderhayden consistently develops and sustains a school culture that ensures every student has access to rigorous curriculum and maximizes their academic potential and personal responsibility. She has also advocated a strong connectedness to the community through communication and active parent involvement. This is Mrs. Vanderhayden's 3rd AXA Region 17 award. She won the Professor of Education Award in 2011 for her work in teaching graduate courses in educational leadership at Concordia University, and Middle Grades Principal of the Year Award in 2005. She also received the California Distinguished School Principal Award twice in 2005 and 2013. Wow. Mr. Fresh was elected as Secondary Co-Administrator of the Year. He's been involved in public education for 13 years. He joined TUSD in 2003 as a core teacher at Curry Middle School. He also served as an English teacher and activities director at Beckman for 8 years. Page 2. He was assistant principal of Tustin High School for 2 years before becoming assistant principal at Pioneer last fall. Mr. Fresh is being recognized for his leadership and guidance, promoting student achievement, rigorous standards, and engaging instructional strategies, technology, and parent involvement in schools that are diverse in multiple aspects, academically, socially, economically, and ethnically. He has continued to work closely with students, families, and community members to positively impact the educational experience. Mrs. Thompson was named Elementary Co-Administrator of the Year. She has been involved in public education for 10 years. She came to TUSD as assistant principal at Thorman School in 2013. Prior to that, she was assistant principal in the Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District. Mrs. Thompson is being recognized for her contributions and effort in transforming both Thorman and Curry under her leadership of one administration, and for her outstanding leadership and work in curriculum and instruction, college and goal setting for students, technology, student discipline, professional development, and parent involvement in the Thorman-Curry community. All 3 administrators will be honored at the 42nd Annual AXA Administrator of the Year and Friends of Education Awards Dinner on Monday, May 11th at the Irvine Marriott Hotel. Region 17 represents 28 school districts in Orange County, and these are our Administrators of the Year. Okay, we are going to now have the superintendent's report and the student board members' reports, and after that, we'll take a little break for those of you who may want to head home and not stay for the whole meeting. We like to at least have you hear our student board member reports because they're very interesting. So first, our superintendent.
Thank you, Mrs. Cinto. I always appreciate getting to go before the students because they're hard acts to follow. It's an exciting time. We're in our 4th quarter of school at the secondary schools, the last trimester of school at our elementaries. And it is that time of year when it's test time. You know, state exams. We've had a little recess from state exams for the last few years, and this year our students in grades 3 through 8 and grade 11 will be taking SBAC tests. We've had presentations to the board to describe those exams, but they are the exams that measure our district's progress in implementing and teaching the new Common Core standards. And so those are the computerized tests. Kids will be taking them online, and they're very, very different from the exams that we've taken before. The one thing that I just want to encourage every student, family member, teacher, to take the exams as seriously as possible. You know, we really do need a scorecard, right? And so it's easy to see the great instruction that happens when you go classroom to classroom. But at some point, what our students do relative to other students matters. And so these kinds of exams help us not only measure our own progress, but also compare our progress to those of our neighbors. And when we're all trying our best, then that data is very valuable for our edification as educators to make sure that we can hone the program in and make it as good as possible. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Leach and Mr. Gonzalez, outstanding teachers in their own right, really great representatives of the 900 plus teachers in Tustin Unified School District. And I think that they would probably say the same thing. Matter of fact, I've heard them say the same thing, and that is, teaching is not an individual thing. It might have been back in the olden days, but more and more it's a team sport, that teachers get better because they're part of great teams. And so I want to acknowledge Mrs. Leach and Mr. Gonzalez for their really outstanding instruction. I want to recognize that we have a lot of great instructors, and because of that, I think they've made Mr. Gonzalez and Mrs. Leach even better. And so we'll be really looking forward to honoring both of these teachers, as well as our 26 other Teachers of the Year, one from each of the school campuses in May. That's it for my report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, so student board members, let's see. Let's start with Bianca La Cavera, Beckman High School.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, President Cinto, members of the board, Superintendent Franklin, district staff, and members of the audience. It is my pleasure tonight to present to you Beckman High School's report for the month of April. The Patriots are back from spring break, well rested, and now ready to get back to their academics, activities, arts, and athletics. Yet even during spring break, the students were staying busy. Many seniors went on college visits around the nation, hoping to narrow down their list so that they can pick the perfect school. Beckman's outstanding chamber orchestra traveled to New York over the break to perform at the famous Carnegie Hall, and even before that, the orchestra performed at the local Segerstrom Center for the Arts on March 26th. Meanwhile, our robotics team attended the regionals robotic competition in San Diego and came in 5th place, a huge accomplishment considering this competition is one of the largest in the United States. At the end of March, Beckman welcomed incoming 9th graders to the annual 8th grade assembly. The ASB class, cheer, and many clubs welcomed the 8th graders with a pep rally to get them excited for their upcoming year at Beckman. And on April 13th, parents attended an 8th grade parent night in which they visited informative workshops on the many programs their students will soon take part in at Beckman. Also on April 13th, Beckman welcomed the Gold Ribbon Visitation Team, who are here to honor our exemplary visual performing arts program. And on April 15th, the Gold Ribbon team visited our school-wide model program in English. Also, the Parent Institute for Quality Education's first meeting was held in which over 100 parents attended. The group was created to help parents who did not attend school in the United States and are therefore unfamiliar with the school systems. As for this week, all the Patriots are looking forward to Friday's spring assembly. There, the prom theme, Prom in Wonderland, will be revealed and displayed to the students through beautiful posters and decorations created by the class councils and ASB. The assembly will also highlight our spring sports. Although early on in the season, Beckman teams are already standing out in their leagues. Boys tennis is 4th in Orange County and ecstatic for their first ever win over Corona Del Mar in Beckman history. Wow. Both boys and girls lacrosse teams are undefeated in league. Baseball is 1st in league, while boys volleyball and boys golf are in 2nd. As for the end of April, our performing arts program is hosting their spring play, Brighton Beach Memoirs, on the 25th and 26th. And from the 27th to May 1st, Beckman will be celebrating Fine Arts Week with student exhibitions. Meanwhile, film students at Beckman have been preparing for the 2nd annual Southern California Student Film Festival, pioneered by our very own Mr. Perdue. The festival will take place on May 2nd from 4 to 9 p.m. at Beckman's Performing Arts Center, and you guys are all welcome to come. I would like to conclude my report with congratulations to the District Teacher of the Year, Beckman's own Mr. Gonzalez, and of course, Mrs. Leach. And thank you for your time. Go Patriots.
Elizabeth Jensen, Foothill High School.
Good evening, President Cinto, members of the board, district personnel, and members of the audience. I am pleased to update you on all the exciting things that have been happening at Foothill in the last month. On March 30th, our seniors went to a senior munch at Universal Studios, where they got to spend time with members of their class before leaving for college next year, enjoy the day off from school, and just have a good time. The Red Cross also came to Foothill for a blood drive that many students participated in. Our nights proceeded to have a fun and safe time over spring break, from April 3rd to April 12th. April was a month of firsts for the Knights. On April 13th, Foothill hosted its first ever showcase, our own version of an open house. Incoming freshmen and transfer students, as well as their parents, were invited to campus to see a little bit of what Foothill is about. Students heard from Principal Dr. Stephanie about some of the things it means to be a Knight and what Foothill is all about, and a presentation of sports and arts as well. A small sampling of Foothill clubs and the cheer team set up booths at the quad to talk to students about some of the ways students can get involved on campus and beyond. All in all, it was a very successful event that generated a lot of interest and excitement in the school. This last Friday, Foothill's very own Max Love Club held its first annual St. Baldrick's Shave for the Brave event. All in all, it was a very successful event that generated over $10,000 in research towards ending childhood cancer. Teachers Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Hake, as well as several Arroyo students, came together to shave their heads in support of Max Wilford, or Super Max, an Arroyo student battling brain cancer. Mr. Weibel and Dr. Stephanie also shaved their heads in the quad at lunch on Thursday to drum up interest for the event. A special thanks goes out to Club President Reagan Denny for working so hard and organizing an event that had so much success in its very first year. Foothill's band ended their season with the Festival of Beckman, and the music scene at Foothill has transferred to the jazz band. The group performed at the Sadie Hawkins Assembly, and students loved them so much the group agreed to play again at the prom assembly. Patrick Horvey, the leader of the group, recently took the band over to Hughes to play a few songs and drum up interest in the program for those looking to join next year. This coming weekend, the Foothill choirs of all levels will come together and perform songs from hit movies at their event, Nights of the Movies. Mrs. Farr's fashion design class has also been hard at work creating high fashion outfits according to this year's prom theme, Casino Royale, to model at the prom assembly. The Knights have been nothing short of excellent this season across the board in sports as well. Boys baseball recently beat Canyon 3-1 in extra innings while they played at Angel Stadium. They are having a stellar season overall, with senior Dylan Doherty breaking the all-time hitting record and senior Sebastian Lopez consistently pitching great games. Girls softball scored a big win against Esperanza this week as well. Boys and girls swim have swept all the meets that they have participated in, winning every single one of them. Our Knights lacrosse teams have also been doing exceedingly well. Our boys team is undefeated in league play, and on a recent trip to Boston to play East Coast teams, the boys only lost one game and beat the #1 team in Massachusetts. Girls lacrosse has had an equally phenomenal season, winning the vast majority of games that they've played and getting a big 18-5 win over rivals CDM. This last month has been a busy one, and the Knights can expect more to come. Prom tickets are being sold for Casino Royale Prom at Arroyo Trabuco Golf Course on May 16th. AP tests begin soon, and the Knights are already hard at work studying, and as May 1st approaches, seniors are making college decisions. Thank you all. Good night, and go Knights.
And from Hillview High School, Daniel Richardson.
Good evening, President Cinto, members of the board, Superintendent Franklin, district staff, and members of the audience. The end of the year is coming up quickly, and that means senior exit interviews for each senior at Hillview. Mr. O'D appreciates the board members, district staff, and community members who have agreed to serve as a panel member. The prom is coming up this Friday at the Orange County Mining Company restaurant. Hillview is proud to announce that it has been named a California Model School by the State Department of Education. Hillview is the only Orange County school to be selected and only one of a handful of schools in the entire state to receive this honor. On Friday, May 1st, the entire senior class will be volunteering at the Special Olympics at Cal State Fullerton. That's all for now. Thank you.
And from Tustin High School, Hanad Musa.
Good evening, President Cinto, members of the board, Superintendent Franklin, district staff, and members of the audience. Tonight, it is my pleasure to present the report for Tustin High School. Since we last met, the Tustin Tillers have had a more than busy schedule. First, we had a well-received Sadie Hawkins dance on March 28th that featured a great venue to dance, the Tustin High Plaza, and a country-style meal consisting of fried chicken, apple pie, a la mode, and other yummy treats. Next, the Tustin High STEM department is proud to announce that 6 junior class tillers have been chosen to represent our school as interns this summer at Boeing Corporation. Also this past month, our ASB teamed up with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in their Pennies for Pasta campaign, in which Tustin High School raised over $1,300. Our digital video class recently entered the Directing Change student video contest. The contest is supported by the California Department of Education and is sponsored by the California Mental Health Services Authority. Students created 60-second PSAs in one of 2 categories: suicide prevention or mental illness stigma reduction. All of the students who participated became much more aware of these important issues facing high school students. 2 student-led teams were recognized. One was selected as the second place winner and received a $250 cash prize, and another team was recognized for best acting. Also in March, Tustin High students of various grade levels were able to travel to Whittier Law School in order to participate in their annual Law Day, presented by the Constitutional Rights Foundation of Orange County. The group of students were able to take part in various workshops in which they engaged with lawyers and government officials on relevant and contentious topics. Also in March, Tustin High students to kick off the month of April, we celebrated Diversity Week, which consisted of an international food fair hosted at Tustin High where students could engage their palate with a wide array of cuisine from many different countries. Later that week, we had our annual International Assembly in which we celebrated the diversity of the Tustin High student body by encouraging students to wear their traditional cultural apparel and featured a wide variety of performances from the THS dance team, drumline, as well as a first-time performance from the Winter Guard. The assembly also featured the Taylor Choir and various student performances. Coming back from spring break, Tustin High hosted the 8th grade parent night last Monday. The night's program was highlighted by several breakout sessions offering specific information about various programs offered at THS and opportunities for parents to establish contact with coaches and program directors. On Wednesday, Tustin High parents picked up report cards and participated in the Get Ready for College Parent Night. Some of these workshops include UC and CSU course requirements, Cal Grant info, college essay tips, and SAT and ACT introduction. With A's, B, and class elections now over, we welcome our new leadership cabinets and look forward to what these bright individuals will accomplish. We also welcome our new MUN High Secretariat who are tasked with many responsibilities such as running the annual Tustin High School MUN Conference, as well as leading in the MUN Summer Program. Furthermore, we commend the MUN program for their striking performance at the Claremont McKenna Conference, winning 3 Best Delegate awards and many other awards. Next, we applaud our Tiller Drumline, JV, and Varsity Winter Guard for their excellent performances at the TUSD Showcase, which also featured Beckman and Foothill students. This event was hosted by the THS Instrumental Music Programs and held at the Tustin High Sports Pavilion this past Thursday. Also, our Varsity Winter Guard will be competing at their finals competition first at Sjöström High School on April 25th and at UCI on April 26th. We look forward to continuing to cheer on our varsity sports teams as they finish their leagues and compete in CIF. These teams include the boys baseball, boys and girls lacrosse, swimming, girls softball, boys tennis, and boys volleyball. This concludes the report from Tustin High School. Thank you, and go Tillers.
And our student board member, Amanda Wynn from Tustin High.
Good evening, President Cinto, Superintendent Franklin, members of the board, district staff, and members of the audience. It is my pleasure tonight to present the district board report for the month of April. As we approach Earth Day, this month's focus is on going green and utilizing our school's resources to teach our students to live a more environmentally conscious lifestyle. Strides towards going green are apparent in the flourishing gardens of many of the elementary schools throughout TUSD. These elementary schools, including Gwynn Foss, Lambert, Arroyo, and Ladera, have taken it upon their students to incorporate what they learn from the garden into their science curriculum, as well as reap the rewards of their hard work in the form of various vegetables and blooming flowers. Other elementary schools have taken it upon themselves to find other proactive methods of going green. This Earth Day, Arroyo Elementary will have a recycling day, as well as a Go Green Challenge in which each classroom will try to go a whole day without using paper. This will teach the students to better appreciate the limited resources and utilize our advances in technology. The students of Tustin Memorial Academy's Kids Care Community Outreach Club have had their first ever annual beach cleanup this past Saturday, picking up litter that could potentially harm the lives of ocean animals. Over at Hughes Middle School, their STEM program is being challenged to design a drought-tolerant garden in front of the Teacher's Lounge. Each group of students is put to the task of designing their garden using succulents and other drought-tolerant greens funded by a $1,000 grant from the Tustin Public School Foundation. In conjunction with the Max Love Project, Tustin High School's ATA and Max Love Club have been collecting recyclables throughout campus to raise money for pediatric cancer research. This service project is purposed to teach the students the importance of giving back while reducing their footprint on Earth. Throughout grants from Through grants from the Western Growers Foundation and the Tustin Public School Foundation, the special education programs at Beckman High School are able to maintain their very own garden. The produce they grow is then used to teach the students how to create healthy meals while being environmentally cautious. Also at Beckman, two students are working to install a water bottle filling station for students to bring their own refillable water bottles from home instead of purchasing one at school. In result, the ultimate goal is to reduce the amount of plastic bottle waste on campus. With all of these efforts made to recycle, clean up, and find new methods of going green, I am confident that TUSD will be more than able to better our planet. Thank you.
Mr. Davis had a comment he wanted to.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one point about our administrators of the year that we have here today. When we had our meeting for administration before the school year began, Mrs. Nielsen led with a message about that there's so much work that has to be done in our school district, and that we need people who are enablers of others, so it's not just their own personal excellence, but the excellence that they inspire and enable in other people that's important to them. And we talked about the student learning environment that these administrators set up, but they are also examples of people who with their fellow educators, enable them to be the best that they can be. And I know we recently had the opportunity to go around to several schools for the review of the Gold Award, a new award that's being given to schools. And I personally met many of our leaders, some of our leaders who have personally benefited from Mrs. Vanderhayden's 31 years of experience in public education. And I think that aspect of the administration needs to be recognized as well. And I didn't want them to leave before I had the chance to thank them for that.
On that note, we're going to take a 5-minute break for those of you who may want to. Moving right along, team. Staff response to public comments? Okay. Next is first team update.
Good evening, President Cinto, members of the board and cabinet. Alexandra Alabello and I are here tonight to give you an update on our first team. First, if you remember, stands for Family Intervention Resource Support Team. So they are here with us tonight, the first team members, so I'd like them to stand really quick just so we can see who they are.
Oh, all right.
Very good. Okay, and then thank you very much. And then I'm going to work through the goals of the first team and just kind of refresh those for you. We wanted to, first and foremost, allow the counselors and administrators to focus on academic achievement of students. There is a tremendous number of needs that take counselors and administrators away from that objective. And a big goal of putting in this team was to allow them to focus on that academic side while this group tries to triage the problems that are occurring in the mental health area. They support students and families who are facing difficult circumstances. Obviously, if you're worried about where your next meal is coming from, it's tough to focus on school. So our community liaisons do a lot of that. And then prevent mental health concerns from rising to crisis levels or negatively impacting other students. And we saw a significant amount of that last year where one student might come in crisis, but because, and then it would spiral to other students. Provide transition and follow-up supports to students who have been in crisis, and then provide individual and group mental health counseling and therapy as needed. So we'd like to kick off with a success story. I took the principal's name off of here, we want to hold a little confidentiality. But one of our middle school principals was quoted as saying, "One of the many positive things I can say about the first team involved a student who a teacher identified as cutting. So cutting can be a sign of other larger mental health issues that are taking place. So through weekly sessions with the mental health worker assigned to the site, the student is responding very well. They've stopped their cutting behaviors, talk during counseling sessions, and have become more positive around campus. There have even been discussions about when the student feels that they're ready to exit weekly work with the first team. This is an incredible turnaround, and while the battle is not completely won with this student, it shows the power of this program and the skills of this outstanding group of people. So that's the start.
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Albello, and I serve as the Child Welfare and Attendance Social Worker for the first team in the district. And I would like to introduce the first team more personally. We have composed this program in 3 levels. The first one is my title, and the second one is we have 3 licensed mental health workers that serve on the team. First, we have Tracy Carson. She serves the Beckman attendance area. And then we have Ashley Johnson. She serves the Tustin High attendance area, as well as Hillview High School and Sycamore Adult School. And then we have Danielle Mejia. She serves Foothill attendance area and the feeder schools. Thank you. The third component of this program is the district community liaisons. We have Giselle Dunn. She serves the Foothill attendance area. Maybrick Goslin Osser. She serves Beckman attendance area. And then we have Olga Reardon. She serves Tustin High School attendance area, as well as Hillview High School and our Sycamore Adult School. Okay. Thank you, ladies. I will go into further more detail as we move along with the slides on their positions. Okay. So what we're going to be looking at a 6-month data analysis that we have composed. As you guys noticed, we will in September and October, there wasn't a lot of activity going on because we were doing following procedures, trying to make procedures, making the program strong so we can launch it out to the schools. So first, I'm going to talk about my role, the CWA social worker. Generally, I oversee the first team. I track all general first team data. I also participate in support of the SARBS meeting, the SPERCS meeting, the JADES, and the expulsion. I sit in these meetings with Mr. Diaz in support. He does more of the punitive part of these meetings, and then I serve. and I serve as the supporting mechanism to the families. If any issues arise during these meetings, I'm able to identify them and follow through with the families, connect them to the proper resources, and give them that support that they need, so they know that the district is not abandoning them. You know, saying these are the issues, go ahead and address them yourself. No, we're giving them the tools to address them and help them address these issues. For example, in the expulsions, we are sending basically our kids away, saying, you know, you guys did something bad, you guys need to do this. Well, I tell the families, I'm here to support you. We know these students aren't coming back. I try to link them to the best resources I can, so when they come back to us, they're better able to be successful within our district. The other thing, I also serve, when needed, as a translator in the JADE meetings and the expulsions. And another thing that I've been able to do is formalize agreements with support agencies. We have seen that we had a lot of programs within our schools, for example, Girls Inc. I noticed that they were in some of our schools, but there was no MOU to protect the district or our students. So I went ahead and did an MOU within the district. So now Girls Inc. is in all of our middle schools and high schools. And then what I did, I know that the Assistance League of Tustin also supports a lot of our district by funding. So I was able to get together with Beanie Tang, and she gave us the scholarships to be able to send 100 girls to a UCI convention center that's going to happen at UC Irvine for Girls Inc. this Saturday. So I would personally like to thank her for that. The chart, you will notice that out of the referrals, I encountered or had face-to-face with 173 families. Those referrals either came out through the schools, referrals through the SARBs, the SPERCS or the JADES or the expulsions. I actually worked with 97 families, connecting them to resources long-term. The reason that there's a discrepancy between those is because in all the referrals, not all the referrals needed assistance or needed any kind of guidance. So that's why you see those numbers like that. Okay.
All right, the next component are our mental health workers, and those are, again, our licensed therapists. Their main responsibilities are providing that therapy and counseling that might be individual or group. They also follow up after a crisis or a hospitalization, and that's a main kind of a new thing that we've been able to put in just because of this group. Oftentimes you'll have a school-based issue or some stress or something like that causing a problem. They would be hospitalized, and then they would come right back to what caused the problem without that reentry support. And this team has been able to step in and provide that reentry support so they feel that someone's there to help them as they reenter our schools. Guidance and support for site leaders. We have a bunch of counselors who hold therapy and social work credentials, so they're very, very competent and capable people, and I want to make sure I point that out. We have very, very good counselors in our district. We also have outstanding principals. But these are strange situations in a lot of cases, and these are different things than they normally deal with on a day-to-day basis. So it's great to have people who have kind of been there and done that and worked with mental health quite a bit to bounce ideas off of and provide support when they're working through situations with certain students. If you look at the chart that's on this particular page, you'll notice that we have referrals by month on the left. And then it goes down dramatically for the number of crises that were identified within those referrals. And then CAT is the County Centralized Assessment Team. And we have even fewer of those times where we've needed to call the county. And then even fewer hospitalizations and then the reentry meetings. Now, we don't have data from last year because we didn't have this team in place. But what we were seeing, and one of the reasons why this team came about in the first place, was if you were to look at a chart that if we were to hypothetically make one for last year, the referrals column would look similar, and then you would have, but crisis would be right up there with referrals, because most of the time when we would find out that there was a referral, they were already in crisis. It was a bad situation. Since they were already bad off and still kind of going out of control, that probably resulted in a CAT call when we responded. And in a lot of cases, when you get a CAT call, it may lead to hospitalization. So this bar chart from last year might look pretty flat with kind of a cliff at the end of it, because we also didn't have support to do a ton of reentry, nor the vehicle for parents to come and tell us, my student was just hospitalized. What type of support do you have to help them get back into school? So now we have that in place, and you can see if you pictured a flat bar there, that's tremendous, tremendous progress over the course of 1 year.
Okay, now we're going to discuss the district community liaisons' role. Their main responsibilities is to locate new outside resources and bring them into the schools, connect families in need to resources, support site-based liaisons, and assure hierarchy of needs. As you guys can see in this graph, in September and October, once again, we didn't have a lot of activity going on, but as you can see, the family connection has rose as the sites have identified that the district community liaisons are here to support them more as a bridge between the schools. For example, say there is a family in Foothill High who's having a lot of issues. The community liaison, the district community liaison for that school feeder can identify and see if they have siblings at other school feeders within her feeder, and work with the family as a whole, not just with that student. Okay, and then they've brought in programs into our schools.
So some of the overall findings that you've just heard. So the first team has made a total of 826 direct connections with students and families over the last 6 months. And as Alex said, it's really the last 4 months. So that's a tremendous amount of work by this group. If you notice as well, we've dramatically reduced all 3 areas, the crisis, CAT calls, and hospitalizations this year. And then we are holding several follow-up and intake meetings. Whenever we know about them, we'll gladly do that. And what that's resulted in is not having that snowball effect, where one student would reach crisis and then all of their friends were in crisis too. We're able to deal with that and provide therapy before it escalates, and it stops the domino effect. So what you'll see here, I have quotes gathered from, this one's from Sarah Montez at Orchard Hills, and this is just attesting to the impact the first team has had. And we've definitely noticed it, our high schools for sure, but our middle schools have really been outspoken about the support that they've received. And then I'll move on. Sean Diaz gave us this one because we definitely see it from a district-wide scenario, set of circumstances. And in this particular quote, he just talks about how we have that balance now between in disciplinary scenarios where we have the yin and the yang kind of all worked out. You get the discipline, but you also get the support so that we can kind of rehabilitate students. So it's a really great balance right now. And they're a great team. I've actually had the privilege to sit in on some disciplinary things when they get a little bit higher end, and I've seen them work together, and they're just tremendous. That balance, and the families leave a difficult set of circumstances feeling very supported and know what the next step would be. And then we have Curry, Ms. Jennifer Rodriguez, the assistant principal there, talks about how they're a tremendous asset there. And they've seen them be both a lifesaver figuratively and literally. So it's a great set of circumstances. Next steps, we have additional need for mental health worker support. It's kind of an if you build it, they will come situation. We could use someone who specializes in elementary, and not that these people can't do it, but they're spread pretty thin. Low SES can always use that support, and our continuation school could really use a little additional support. Continuing to modify the role of district community liaison, that's kind of an ebbing and flowing position, so we're still looking at that on a daily basis. How can we make it better? Continue to educate the community and school staff about the first team and the support they can offer. As you saw in all of our charts, if people know about it, they utilize the team. And that's what we want. We want to train people how to take advantage of this tremendous resource. And then continue to track and analyze this data so that we can make them better and better. So thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have two thoughts. One is I'm concerned that I don't think we should measure ourselves by in our success in terms of reducing the number of calls to the county, because I just fear that could lead to somebody making even just subconsciously not calling the county when the county ought to be called, and I just really concerned about that kind of a measurement for success. I mean, we might want to count them and all that stuff, but I don't think you should equate that with success. And second, students can be really clever about hiding the true reasons behind hospitalizations or other problems that they come across. And the person that they trust to tell may not be a regular staff person. It could be a volunteer coach, a walk-on coach, somebody advisor in robotics team. It could be anybody, somebody that I have a personal relationship with who may not know that we have this capacity now in our schools, and that they should immediately get in touch with a school administrator if a student describes a crisis to them. And so I really think it is important that we reach out and make sure that as much as possible we get the word out to any person who might have the trust of a student in crisis, and that student may have confided the true depth of their problem with, so that person gets back to through proper channels to this team promptly.
I am so ecstatic that we have this team in place. This is so overdue for years. I know the last several years of talking to counselors, both at high school and especially at middle school, so overwhelmed with students who have problems that go outside the classroom and begin when they get home, and they do not end there. That is where they come from, and they cannot leave them at the door when they get to school. There is not a middle school or high school that does not have a population of cutters, of both males and females who have self-esteem problems, body esteem issues, eating disorders, mental health issues. I mean, there are unfortunately so many, not to make it sound like all 24,000 of our students have some problem, but there is literally at least 3 to 5%. And it's not surprising seeing these numbers grow so quickly. And fortunately and unfortunately, I know that this bar chart is going to be much higher next year. That's the unfortunate part, but the fortunate part is that those people have been identified, those students, those families, and they're going to be getting the help. Ultimately, this will peak, and as word gets out that there's a resource available and people to talk to, I think more and more people are going to, especially students, are going to come forward. And Lynn makes a good point in that it's not, it could be anybody that a student shares it with. In most cases, it's a student sharing it with another student because that's a peer. It's not a counselor, it's not a teacher, it's not an administrator. And I think it's really important because I know all 3 of our high schools have student groups that are there to help mentor in the freshmen, the juniors help mentor in the freshmen, et cetera. And, that's a point right there where you have a lot of students coming in who have issues that have been hidden or were going on in middle school and they bring them to high school. And it's important that, we do make sure we provide that training, which I know we do, to those students to be able to identify if there's possibly some issue going on for them to go then and talk to an administrator and say, I'm mentoring, 7 students just coming in. One of them seems to have some issues, at home. They're missing days at school. There could be something going on here. But bringing it back around, I'm just so happy that we have all of you here and this team in place because it's going to make a difference in a lot of students' lives.
I just have a brief comment. I had a very brief encounter with this process right after you got to our district. And I was working in my office one evening and I had a father walk in with a younger daughter and they were talking about another daughter and he said to me, my other daughter is going to commit suicide. We have no idea where to go. We don't know what to do. I thought, oh, dang, 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 what am I supposed to do now? And I texted Dr. Franklin and said, I just had a dad walk in my office and say, they are certain the daughter is going to try to commit suicide. And the daughter had been sharing with her other sister. And this process got started right away, and the school community and you folks, I don't know who was involved in this, wrapped themselves around this family. And about a week and a half later, I got a follow-up phone call from the father that just left a message on my answering machine. I didn't reach back out to him. It's not my role to get involved in that. But the dad thanked me for making a phone call to Dr. Franklin and thanked our district for having resources in place because they didn't know where to go and they had initially tried to talk to somebody from their church, but they didn't have the licensing and the experience to really know what to do for them. So I just had a very brief contact and I know that this is serving our students and families.
I had a question. I just may be ignorant of the system, but I can understand the hospitalizations. But there's got to be I'm just curious about the student that gets into trouble with some health related issue. Is there a mechanism for out of patient treatment, not hospitalization, or is there a big gap there? Because I'm just looking at the student that may not need hospitalization, but could use some health therapy, mental health therapy, which can just make the big difference for a lot of people. And I'm just wondering, do we have a hole there, or does that get handled?
Well, when one of the ladies goes out and assesses the student and stabilizes the student and makes that decision if the student needs to be hospitalized, we'll call the CAT team and then they initially do the hospitalizations. If that is not needed, what we have in place is one of the ladies will do follow-ups. They will do up to 2 follow-ups. The next day they will go in, they will check in with the student, they will talk to the family, make sure that they have some resources and put a plan in place, a safety plan. And they will do follow-up, like I said, 2 to 3 times. 1 or 2 times they will go and follow up. If the student needs our services, then what will happen is we will turn that crisis into a referral into the first team, and they will be part of the first team, and then they will go into the sessions with them and make sure that they get connected to long-term services outside while the team is stabilizing them here to make them feel safe at school.
Do you count the 72-hour holds as hospitalizations?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. You've done a great job getting something off the ground that didn't even exist last year, so thank you. Okay, TUSD Connect Bright Spots.
We are delighted to present to you today a program and a club at Beckman that has been happening for some time, and wanted to introduce and bring up now the students that will be presenting to you. But before they begin, I wanted to just recognize the teachers at Beckman who you may know, and some may be new to you. Mr. Charles Balin. Charles, will you stand up? These are AP teachers at Beckman, AP Math and Science teachers. Mr. Michael Tran and Mr. Suling Sit. This is an amazing partnership that these students have with both the National Science Foundation and Caltech, and they're doing some exciting research, so we wanted them to share with you some of the things that they're doing. So we'll let them go ahead and begin.
Good evening. My name is Katrina.
My name is Ryan.
Rosalia.
Good evening, my name is Vivian, and at this time I'd like to ask the other members of our team as well as our advisors to stand. And we are the Beckman Science Research Program.
So, who are we? We are juniors and seniors from Beckman High School with a passion for math and science. Every Friday we meet for 2 hours from 3:30 to 5:30. And in addition to our weekly meetings, we also have joint meetings with universities such as Concordia and Caltech. This past January, we attended the Center for Chemical Innovation Conference, where we exchanged feedback with other university professors, investors, and other high school students who've been working on the same research project. This was our first experience presenting our findings to the scientific community. Next May, we will be attending the conference at Caltech called SEALCon, and since the SEAL project has so many diverse aspects to it, SEALCon is our chance to collaborate with other scientists who are working on the same project.
So the goal of the Beckman Science Research Program Beckman Science Research Program is obviously first and foremost to do science research, but the thing that's really unique about this program is the opportunity for it to be truly student-driven. Whereas in an AP science class, you may do a lab report, but that is a lab report that ultimately the teacher knows the answer to, and there's already a set procedure for you to follow. What we're doing here has no answer. Our advisors don't know the answers. We don't know the answers. Really, no one in the world knows the answers, because we have the opportunity to do real science research to contribute in a meaningful way to the science culture of the world. And that's also one of our goals, is to promote that ability to effectively communicate what we've learned in our program.
As of now, the Beckman Science Research Program is working on the SEAL project. SEAL stands for Solar Energy Activity Lab, and its main objective is to use sunlight to split water and produce hydrogen. We are working on this program on this project because because solar panels do not have the ability to store energy, and the hydrogen is not portable under this process. Using the water splitting reaction, SEAL hopes to store energy in the form of hydrogen, and hydrogen is a clean, green, and storable fuel. For example, there are already cars being powered by hydrogen fuel cells instead of internal combustion engines. So the main goal of this program and SEAL is to produce hydrogen in the most effective way.
So in front of you, I believe, you have an example of the poster that we've In front of you, you have the example of the poster that we presented at the conference that we went to in January, as Katrina mentioned. So in this poster, we were able to display some of our actual research results, and we were able to share these results with not just other high school students, but university students, university professors, and other academics in the field.
These are the universities that the members of the research program are going to be attending. Every person in this research program has a huge passion for science, and each one of us are going to be a part of research in these universities, each one of us with our special emphasis too. We'd like to thank all of you guys for inviting us here and letting this presentation be possible. And we'd like to thank Dr. Astrid Mueller and Dr. John Kenny for allowing us to go to the facilities and mentoring us in this process. Concordia and Caltech, we've been over there, they've been over here, and they've provided us with the tools necessary to be able to expand our minds, think outside of the box, and be able to come up with something as a group of young kids trying to make a discovery in science. And lastly, we'd like to specifically thank Dr. Litvin. And all these tools that we've had so far have been limited, and obviously with all the big ideas that we want to put forth, we're going to, we didn't really have much to work with, but we were able to come up with new ideas and build stronger foundations for research. And because of this generous support, and because he has supported our research and believed in us, now we can take those ideas to the next level with the new tools and the new support necessary. Thank you very much.
Wow, not only are you incredibly bright and inquisitive to want to do something and go somewhere where no one else has gone, you are tremendous communicators, all of you, which is very important when you're doing the type of work that you're doing. So I congratulate you. This is exciting that our district has this going on within our district. It's very innovative and very unique, and it's just fabulous. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to get together with you on a Friday afternoon to discuss some of the processes and techniques and the findings. And I'll do that as soon as I get my dictionary and figure out what in the heck you're actually doing. Because I can't make it through more than one sentence without going, what does that mean? So I know what you're doing is incredibly bright, intelligent. And I'm sure we're all going to benefit it from some point, and we can say we knew you win all those prizes in science that you'll be receiving.
Well, I echo both my colleagues. You need an interpreter, in other words, on Friday. Yeah. But no, I agree with Ms. Bullard. You know, the important thing is, you know, you're very brainy and bright and scientific, but the ability to communicate and convey your ideas is very, very impressive. So congratulations to the whole team, and we wish you success in all your discoveries. Thanks.
And those colleges that you're going to are pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Your chart reminds me of the Kalamazoo College where my daughter graduated. They had to do a senior individual project, and the people in the sciences, they each created a chart to look very similar to yours. And if you go in April in that college, and the science building is just loaded with chart after chart from every senior in that college. So you'll be doing this again. And
Okay, next are public comments. Do we have anyone who wants to comment on an item that is on the agenda? You may comment at the time it comes up, or now, or on any item that is not on our agenda. Do we have any cards? Doesn't look like it. Okay. We are moving on to discussion action items. The first is a public hearing on the proposed formation of Community Facilities District Number 15-1 of the Tustin Unified School District. The proposed special taxes of Community Facilities District Number 15-1 and intention to incur bonded indebtedness of Community Facilities District 15-1. And for anyone who doesn't know what 15-1 is, this is a community facilities district that's being formed on Tustin legacy in order to fund school construction.
We have a presentation.
Okay.
You have to open the hearing?
We want to.
I will open the public hearing.
Get my glasses on here. Okay, Madam President, members of the board, I want to preface my presentation by saying that negotiations are continuing with, and no final agreement has actually been made with regards to the mitigation agreement. Therefore, a lot of the information that I'm presenting tonight is proposed and estimated. Negotiations with the city over the mitigation agreement have been productive and positive, but the details of the agreement have not yet been finalized and are complex. We are hopeful that to have an agreement by the end of June. That being said, we'll talk about the purpose of the actual proposed agreement, and that is to mitigate the impact of the potential or projected development on the former Marine Corps Air Station and the number of students expected to be generated as a result of the base development. The participants with regards to the entities of the development agreements calls for mitigation agreements for first of all, the completed Columbus-Tustin TUSD CFD, Tustin City CFD 15-1, and that's for new growth and new development in the legacy area, as well as the city Standard Pacific CFD 14-1, that's agreement between the city and Standard Pacific, where the district is a participant in the Joint Community Facilities Agreement. So next I would like to talk basically about the expected students to be generated from those developments. A maximum total of approximately 5,751 dwelling units is projected for the overall base, and this is of course subject to change, of which 4,993 units are from mitigated developments, 758 units are from actual non-mitigated developments. Moving forward, what we're going to be talking about specifically is about construction and the student impact as a result of the mitigated developments. The projected student generation for the mitigated developments is a rough estimate based on similar developments in the district. Approximately 900 elementary students, 900 middle school, high school students are projected in those areas. The possible funding sources that we're looking at funding will come from multiple sources. Standard Pacific Joint Community Facilities Agreement with the city and Standard Pacific as well as the district. A TUSD City CFD for future legacy development, a contribution from the city of Tustin, as well as developer fees and other facility funds will generate approximately $75 million in funds to be generated for the projects on the base. As far as school facilities construction, as we know, Heritage has been constructed and complete. That consists of 21 classrooms at an estimated cost of about $12.9 million. A 612 school is planned to be completed in 2 phases. All the estimates are based on current industry cost climate, and they do include some cost escalation, but again, they are estimates as we know them today, and again, subject to change. A conceptual plan and design will begin upon completion of the formation of proceedings with the city. Construction of Phase 1 project will include a complete site preparation for the 612, the complete 612 school, and that will include grading and utility connections to the site. A design and build of the 6-8 middle school complex consisting of approximately 20 classrooms, a cafeteria, but no multipurpose room or gym. We expect that to start planning and construction within 24 months of the actual receipt of $31 million with regards to the various sources of funding. Barring any construction or other issues, construction will take approximately 2 years from that point, and it's estimated that the 6-8 school will be open in 4 to 5 years from receipt of the $31 million, the first portion of the $75 million. Construction of the Phase 2 project will include the design build of the 912 high school, consisting of approximately 30 classrooms, and will include a multi-purpose room/gym. Planning and construction is yet to be determined, as it's based on residential development and the receipt of the necessary funds to complete those projects. And Phase 3 will relate to the expansion of Heritage and may occur before or after the construction of the 912 school, dependent on the actual need for expansion of the school. With regards to the calendar of events that are currently planned, as stated earlier, there are many aspects of this agreement that between the various parties that have yet to be finalized, and actual milestone dates may be or could be delayed due to the complexity of the agreements. However, negotiations have positively progressed, and current estimates are the following will occur. Tonight, the board is going to be asked to basically file the notice of intent to adopt the mitigated negative declaration, and it's planned for April, and the approval will be done in May. In June and May and June, the board and the city of Tustin will approve and execute the mitigation agreement as well as all related documents in May and June. And tentative opening, should all this occur, is proposed to be in September of 2016. So, with that being said, I'm open to answer any questions that there may be with regards to the proposal.
Just for clarity, the unmitigated housing is what?
758 units, and they're for, currently they're the apartment developments that are on the base.
Okay.
Tick and St. Anton.
Okay,
Right.
and those are the developments where we basically gave them an opportunity to be part of the CFD.
Correct.
At one point, okay.
Now, as I understand it, I need to declare that this is the time and place. Shall I say that now?
Yes.
Okay. This is the time and place designated for the public hearings on the establishment of CFD number 15-1 in accordance with the provisions of resolution number 15-1-01 dated February 23rd, 2015. The public hearings also relate to the proposed rate and method of apportionment of special taxes within CFD number 15-1 and the incurring of bonded indebtedness by CFD number 15-1. I declare the public hearings now open. Now, is Jeff Hamill here? I don't see him.
Jeff is not here. Well,
Okay, so that's,
pretty much that's it.
okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in favor of CFD 15-1? If so, please give your name and address and state. Pardon? Not on this. It says, this was written by the attorneys, so. Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in favor of CFD number 15-1? If so, please give your name and address and state whether you are an owner of property within CFD number 15-1 or a registered voter within CFD number 15-1. Okay.
Yes, I will.
All right.
Kathy Valavieni. The address is 1435 Lexington Street. I live in Columbus Square. And on behalf of our group of people, we are in favor of it, as you well know. So I wanted to say that. I guess I had the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak against or protest generally against the establishment of CFD number 15-1, the incurring of bonded indebtedness, or the establishment of an appropriations limit for CFD number 15-1? Okay, seeing no one. If so, please give your name and address and state whether you are an owner of property within CFD number 15-1 or a registered voter within CFD 15-1. Okay.
Madam President, just want to clarify, the Columbus Square development is not part of CFD 15-1. They're part of 06-1, but obviously they have a loud voice in the matter.
I think they're interested in the process moving forward.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So next is discussing the time for the adjourned regular meeting and continuation of the combined public hearings, which is now May 26th.
Correct. So we are continuing the hearing through to that date.
Okay. So
So this means between now and May 26th, anybody who wants to can send a note to
Public
the
comments.
superintendent,
Yes.
and that will be communicated to the board as if they were here today making a comment.
Yes,
So we are leaving the public hearing open. We are not closing it.
correct.
So we are moving on to Resolution 15-1-04, ordering certain changes and modifications to proceedings for the proposed community facilities District Number 15-1. The authorization to levy special taxes within proposed CFD Number 15-1 and continuing public hearings and making findings relating thereto. So I need a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
And a second. Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All these things say different things. Okay. I need a motion to adjourn the April 20th, 2015 meeting to May 26th. This is listed separately on here, but it's not over here, so.
Or to adjourn the
Or to
formal
continue.
hearing, to continue the hearing to, I so move, whatever, however way the attorney wrote it, but it means that people can write in the meantime, and they can come on the 26th if they want, right?
Correct.
Yes. That we're keeping the public hearing open
Right.
until the
Yes.
26th.
So moved.
I'll second that, the continuance of the
All
meeting.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Just want to make sure we dot all the i's and cross the t's because
Yes.
there's a lot of law relative to CFDs, and we want to make sure we're doing it correctly. I think that is it.
Correct.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is Resolution 0417-15 of the Board of Education of Tustin Unified School District to establish the Tustin Connect Academy.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a presentation or discussion? We've had this,
Yeah.
Is there a presentation, or,
I think we're okay.
we've already heard about it.
We had a
Already heard
previous
this, but-
presentation.
You have heard the presentation, and there was some debate about whether this would be a program attached to an existing school or a new school, and it turns out, for a variety of logistical reasons, it's better to create its own school. So this is what will allow us to then submit
Okay.
for the state and get a school number for the academy.
Okay. And again, for the public, this is a new online school, a K-8 online school. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is, on our agenda is Technology Specialist 1, new title and job description. May we have
Why
a
don't we take
motion?
both together?
Yeah, I was gonna recommend
One,
that.
Technology Specialist 1 and Technology Specialist 3. These are new titles and job descriptions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, consent calendar.
I'll move to adopt the entire consent calendar.
And I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that brings us to pupil personnel. Student number 2014-15-16, stipulated expulsion with conditions from all schools and programs from January 26th through June 18th, 2015.
I'll move approval.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Student number 2014-15-20, stipulated expulsion with conditions from all programs, schools and programs in the district from March 4th, 2015 through June 18th, 2015.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Student number 2014-15-21, approve the full expulsion with conditions from all schools and programs of the district, March 4th, 2015 through June 18th, 2015.
So moved.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Student number 2014-15-22, approve the stipulated expulsion with conditions from all schools and programs of the district, March 18th, 2015 through June 18th, 2015.
So moved.
Second it again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Board member comments. Go ahead.
Okay. I am going to report on Coastline ROP this evening. Our board meetings somewhat mirror our own, where there's not a lot of hugely exciting things, although tonight was an exception to that. But there is some things going on at ROP that I just wanted to let you know about. We had a staff member attend Orange County's largest mixer in March at the Orange County Fairgrounds, and she came away with several potential intern sites, which is great for, our kids and ROP. This was a little troubling to hear. We had some trouble with our recent WASC procedure, specifically with some committee members and the process. And the leader of the committee, the chairperson, should have never been a chairperson going around to other places looking at things. And we had one gal that had to keep leaving meetings to go take naps. So the quality of the committee was very low. They skipped some steps. We didn't get reports when we were supposed to get them on the day that they read out, to the board and anybody that's there. That didn't happen. It took a long time after that. We still haven't gotten the final. Darlene did call and report this, because if you wait until after you get your report, then you sound like sour grapes if you don't get what you thought you were going to get or what you deserved. So Darlene did report on this to the person in Temecula, and she basically said that they're having a very difficult time getting superintendents and administrators to participate as WASC committees. Still no excuse. But anyways, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We've always had a 6-year accreditation. There's no reason why we shouldn't get one again. So I will let you know when we know. It's unfortunate that this happened this way. And it was certainly upsetting, for our board to hear this, our JPA board, that this happened this way. And it just didn't go as well as it should have. And WASC is something that's very, very important, I know, to our district and also to Coastline ROP. And to have it fall apart like this was just less than ideal and, quite frankly, unacceptable. So I will let you know what comes of that. We had a presentation from 2 career specialists that were not in our district that informed our board what they were doing to increase awareness on their campuses for ROP classes. Very, very creative, pre and post tests going into classrooms. It was really incredible what they were doing. They were bringing in industry people onto their campus during lunch hour, and people were willing to give up their lunch to go listen to somebody talk about an industry that they might be interested in and get firsthand experience. Newsletters that highlighted ROP pathways and stuff like that. It was just really incredible to see the creativity that's going on, because every campus is different. ROP is not a one-size-fits-all for all of the high schools that are involved in that. And just to let you know, we did get a report, and I failed to bring it with me this evening, but I will make sure you get it. We are currently fluctuating between 31 to 36% of our eligible students taking ROP classes. And we're one of the highest in our 5 districts that make up Coastline ROP. So when you think about that, nearly 36% of our students involved in ROP, that's incredible. It tells you, one, that our campuses are doing a good job at getting the word out about ROP. We've got classes that students are interested in. And I'm a huge proponent as well as all of you about, vocational education and the importance of that. So we're still doing well, and I would like to thank Grant and Kathy. None of this would happen without your support, and of course Dr. Franklin, of ROP, and it's just something that's so incredibly important, and it is a component of career technical education. Even though districts are off doing their own thing as we are, it's important to stay connected to ROP and support ROP. And we don't know what the funding is going to look like down the road or anything like that, but for right now we're serving a lot of kids within our own district, and certainly tons of kids between the 5 JPAs. That's it.
Yeah. We have several hundreds of our employees who are classified employees, which means that they do work besides direct teaching responsibility, but things like run our libraries, provide for student safety in anywhere as behavior intervention specialists to campus supervisors, feed our students, and keep the campuses clean, answer questions, and respond to inquiries from the community, a huge variety. And they're very important to both in the ways that they help students and in the ways that they enable our teachers to focus on teaching. And I want to congratulate our Classified Employee of the Year, Lily Kozai, a special education paraeducator at Columbus Tustin Middle School. And she was selected based on her support for many programs at Columbus Tustin, particularly her involvement with the Peer Assistance Leadership Program and many community projects. And I think it's really important in general that we recognize the contributions that classified employees make. And in fact, we're going to recognize all of the nominees from the different schools here on Monday, May 18th. I also had a chance to go to a TACFA event, which I assume Mr. Abelov will tell us about, so I will skip that. No, I'm going to let him go the rest. But then that same evening, Tustin High School had an interesting event when you could go pick up the report cards, and they had a lot of individual seminars on things to help families through the college process. For example, good tips on writing your college essays and so forth. And it was a great program. I wish there had been more people there. And again, I think maybe, hopefully, as they will not give up, but try it again at a future date, and that other than the word will get out that this assistance is available. I attended a session where I learned about a tool called Naviance. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but yes, that helps students with the process of applying to colleges and considering career options, which do fit together, and then enables counselors to track the steps that students are taking through those processes, so they know the students who are doing these things and the students who need to do these things, and it was very, very helpful, and I was very pleased to hear that we had that happening in our school district. And then I'm halfway through, so I don't know if I'll like the end or all the recommendations made, but I am reading Amanda Ripley's book, Smartest Kids in the World, that compares the education systems of many different countries. And from what I can tell, there isn't a country in the world who thinks they have it all right. And we have many strengths, but we have many things to learn from. And the other conclusion I would draw from what I've heard so far is there's a lot of things in every country's education system that come not necessarily from what's required for academic success, but come from characteristics of that country's culture. But I think there's a lot that we can learn about. And one of the things that was evident is how students do in mathematics turns out to be the most closely linked to their future earnings and economic opportunity. And I also learned that the PISA international test called PISA actually kind of went out ahead of Common Core in terms of a lot of these problem-solving oriented questions and testing. It's not a bubble. Which I had before, I'd always assumed it was a bubble A, B, C, or D kind of test, and it's not. And we've learned a lot, and it was just described in just the first couple. If you only read it for about half an hour, you will learn an awful lot about things that have been learned in the last decade about education, and it's a very worthwhile book. Thank you.
Was she the one that spoke at CSBA?
Okay. Are you looking for an opportunity this summer to have your kid go somewhere away from the house? I think we all are, if we're parents. I think we at least 1 week, right? So here's your chance. I totally endorse this. I think everybody on the board does 100%. They're probably in their third summer going right now. The first summer, they had an amazing result, and they're still going strong. That's the Tustin Public Schools Foundation Summer Academy. They have an information night on Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. at Orchard Hills School. And the classes are offered K through 8. The classes will go from June 29th to July 23rd. And they comprise such courses as fast forward, STEAM-related courses. The kids get to deal with cars, rockets, and things that go bam, I guess, or something like that. They get to cook. They get to grow, recycle, sew. They get ready for algebra, They are part of Art Explorers, and they enhance their technology skills. This has been a game changer for a lot of students. I think Dr. Franklin last year or the year before read a testimonial by a parent about how one child, one of her children, was not liking school but went to the academy, and it just was a total life changer for that student, and came back in the fall ready to embrace a lot of pursuits that excited that student. So that's a big thing. I just know that I've gone to a bunch of the board members. Everybody goes to that, and they see the robots face off against one another. I think the schools, the middle schools have robotics teams, and they basically have Mortal Kombat in the in the multi-purpose room. No, actually, there's certain things the robots have to do, and they get points or demerits for how they perform. And by the end of it, one of the middle school teams becomes the champion for that summer. So it's exciting to see. I'd also wish congratulations to a group of Beckman High School students for winning the 2015 Floor Engineering Challenge for Orange County. Working with limited materials and their imaginations to build the strongest balloon-powered car possible, the students used the engineering design process to build their car, loaded up with pennies, and tested across a 30-inch corridor to the finish line. The winning team submitted the highest score of all participants in the County of Orange and was awarded a grant of $2,500 from Floor. The grant will go towards the Beckman Science Research Program, which focuses primarily on giving students the opportunity to work on university-level research projects. And the last thing that I would say is that Lynn was with me just this week, and all the board members have been going out to some of the schools that are getting these gold ribbons, and they're getting site visits from the Orange County Department of Education just to verify our applications are correct. And Lynn and I sat at a table at Hughes Middle School hearing probably about a dozen students talk about how the iPads and the technology and the devices that they've been basically given for a year to have as part of the curriculum, how that's really changed their way of becoming educated, being responsible, and being a citizen in the 21st century. And I had the distinct feeling that all I can say is I was blown away. I felt that I was talking to college students. The way they were conducting themselves, how eloquently they were expressing themselves, it was extremely impressive. At the very least, high schoolers. And it was just very impressive. It was an uplifting experience to hear them talk about what they're doing, and they're very heartfelt. And they're not just totally positive on everything. They also have criticisms about how we can change things and make things better. So they're thinking full forward, but also not just accepting everything 100% and saying, hey, we can use these devices in even a more productive way and problem solve the way certain things happen at the school. So I just thought that as a parent, I have a kid there in 7th grade, and I just really felt really good to just see that interaction among those students, because it was really a student-led conversation. So that's the good news for today.
As Lynn mentioned, I'll just give you a couple of TACFA rundowns. What Lynn was referring to is last Wednesday, April 15th, was the annual Student Art Invitational Show held by TACFA, which all the middle school and high school students are invited to present work in any of the medium, whether it be oil, charcoal, photography, etc. It's held at the Tustin Senior Center, and there were over 300 entries. There was some phenomenal artwork, some of which was available for sale, and it was bought. And there were some actual pieces commissioned to be made that were asked for, that were similar to the ones on display. TACFA gives out first, second, and third place awards monetarily, $100, $50, $25. But the really special thing then is that all the art teachers at the middle schools and the high schools are recognized, and each one of those teachers are presented a check for $125 by TACFA to be used for art materials in their rooms. which, as we know, is probably a drop in the bucket for what most teachers spend out of their own pocket, but it certainly is helpful. The next night, April 16th, as one of our student board member reps said, there was a Tustin Unified showcase, which involved drum lines and winter guard, and it was held at the Tustin Event Center. I had only heard about it actually earlier in the day from seeing it on Facebook, and decided, Lori and I decided we will go check it out. And it was very interesting. I think it was kind of a trial basis. I will admit that I did not know that that there is winter guard. Where I grew up in Pennsylvania, we didn't have any of those things. And what I didn't realize was
You
that
have Valley Forge, but you don't have winter guard?
No, in central Pennsylvania, I mean, we're snowed in. We can't even get out to, do anything. But I didn't realize was that the same students that do the flags, that are on the flag guard, that perform at halftime with the marching bands at football games, actually, they have a competitive season. Their competitive season is actually during the winter. And I was amazed at it's a whole process of competition that, thank goodness, TJ Prendergast was sitting in front of me because his daughter participates, and he was explaining to us how when they compete, how points are earned and how the timing is and what kinds of movements have to be demonstrated. I mean, it's a whole nother culture. It's a whole nother, it really is. But it was both JV and varsity from all three of our high schools. The Winter Guard performed, the drum lines performed, the majorettes performed with all the batons and everything, and our own. And one of those individuals that performed was Miss Tustin, who is a senior at Beckman High School. She happens to be on Winter Guard, and her talent that she performed at the Miss Tustin pageant and will be doing so for Miss California is her flag routine, and then for lack of a better word, the routine that she does with the rifle. Which is unbelievable how anyone can toss and twirl a rifle up to the ceiling of the event center and catch it doing a split. It's a really amazing thing to watch. April 18th, this past Saturday, TACFA had its annual reveal event where TACFA revealed what this year's Broadway in the Park production is going to be. And this was held at Schemmer's Gallery in Enderley Center. And this year's production in the park over here at Peppertree will be Kiss Me, Kate. For those of you who haven't heard of it, I can't tell you anything about it because I've never seen it myself. It'll be held the third week of August. And tomorrow, I'm sure as many of you will be doing over the next couple of months, I'll be participating in exit interviews with the Hillview students. And this Sunday, I've mentioned this before, April 26th, at the Anaheim Convention Center is a national college fair. So for any seniors who are still trying to make up their mind by April 26th this Sunday and are pushing that May 1st window, and have any last minute questions to be answered, that's probably not the best place to go. But if you're a junior, a sophomore, a freshman in middle school, this is a great place to go. I know I took my daughters there long before they were seniors. There are hundreds of colleges represented, well beyond. We get over 100 colleges to come to our Tustin Unified College Fair. This National College Fair gets hundreds. And in addition to representatives from all the colleges, there's also workshops held by NCAA for student athletes. There's also workshops held on financial aid. There's also workshops held on finding scholarships and grants that are not associated necessarily with the college that you're going to, that are independent, could be from something that's on the East Coast that you could apply for. It's a very worthwhile day to go to. Crowded, but very worthwhile. That's it.
Just one thing. There are so many things every day and every evening that if we didn't make it to your event, it wasn't because we didn't think it was important. It probably was because we were, at least in my case, got too exhausted to leave the house.
I just wanted to share a compliment for Tustin High that was in your weekly, but the Draper Family Foundation supports AVID scholarships, and I got a note which said, our annual AVID Scholars, in our annual AVID Scholars selection recently, 7 of the 10 were from Tustin High's excellent and robust program, including the Senior Standout. These are 4-year renewable awards for 4 years of college, with about 40 current outstanding students, and a high college completion rate of about 90%. They are all determined, driven young people. Congratulations on your very successful district-wide AVID success. That was worth noting. The other thing worth noting is that Mr. Davis, with the League of Women Voters, brought Dowell Myers, who is a professor of demography at USC, to a luncheon, and he gave an absolutely fascinating talk on the changing demographics in California, and they're very different from what we think they are. We think that we have a lot of immigrant students coming in, and in fact, the number of births in California has been dropping since the early 90s. So there's been a fall off in the number of and that fall off is not only among the traditional populations, but among our immigrant populations as well. And so there are not enough kids coming in. People are moving out of California, we all know that, but we don't have the wave of immigration that we used to have here. And so the number of students and the number of kids is very flat. It's going to rise a little bit in the next few years, but it's a very flat curve. And then you have all these older baby boomers who are reaching retirement age. So there's a shortage of people coming into the workforce. And the significance of this for schools, which is why he is very passionate about this, he did a lot of research to show where all these numbers came from, and he had all kinds of graphs and charts. But the importance of this is that we have a huge responsibility in California to educate the children who are here. Over half of the children who are in California schools are California born. They're not even born back east or any, and that's not true of older generations. He asked, like in the room, which were people over 50 largely, and a majority weren't born in California. But you take a group of students, and that's not the case. They're California born. So we have an enormous responsibility as school districts to educate the kids that are here and really bring them along to fill the jobs, to go take care of things. And as this professor would say, we need them to buy our houses when we retire. So it's a, I don't know if you wanted to add
One
anything
important statistic he gave, he said a young adult with a college degree can afford to pay 65% more when they buy your house if you're a senior citizen looking to sell than a young adult who only has a high school diploma. So it says it's worth your while to invest in their education.
So I think it's a really important message to get out, particularly to the business community, so that people really get on board and support our public schools. I think that's, did anyone do the upcoming events? Okay. Wednesday, May 6th is School Nurses Day. Thursday, May 7th is the Tech Stravaganza at Hicks Canyon Elementary School at 3:15 p.m. Wednesday, May 13th is California Day of the Teacher. And May 17th through 23rd is the Classified School Employees Week. And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn in the memory of Donna Hicks, who is a former library media technician at Tustin Memorial Academy. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.